All right, another Patreon episode. This one's going into the Wayback Machine. This is for the first Sonic the Hedgehog film. I think it was Nick Berger or it was Nick Wolf, one or the other, pitched the idea of doing this one. And overall, when this movie came out, it came out in the middle of COVID. It was bullied into getting a better visual effects department. Thank God they did that. They redid all the CGI for the better, and the movie came out and it was like fine. It was like it's fine. It's a kids movie. I can't really dunk on it too badly. It's not my kind of movie, but there's some good stuff in it. Jim Carrey is the standout performance in the film. It's amazing. It's one of those movies that I saw once and I've kind of forgotten most of it, but there's some things that I kind of remember, like the running down the buildings and, all that stuff, but very little character stuff. It's a very standard plot, fish out of water stuff. It's very, very standard. It's interesting to see this has gone on to become a giant franchise as films, and also getting its, the TV show, I think was revolving around Knuckles, I think is what it was. I kind of just tapped out after the first one. I was like, okay, I get it. That's enough for me. But yeah, this has a whole rabid fan base revolving around Sonic, and then the movie was fine. It was totally fine, and it's an enjoyable episode. We have a little bit of Patreon content in the back end of this. It's overall an okay movie. It's a rainy Sunday afternoon. Nothing else is on. You don't know what to watch? Yeah, throw this on. It's a nice little comfort movie. It's a nice little sit back, relax, kind of in one ear and out the other. It's not deep, not complex. There's some fun moments. There's some good comedy. There's some pretty good CGI. Thank God they fixed it. Let's hope they do the same thing with that Minecraft movie on the way. We did it once. We can do it again. We can bully them into getting good CGI into their video game movies. And this was kind of the start of the genuinely good video game movie trend. We finally had a really good one. Finally got one. So here is our Patreon edit of our film rescue for Sonic the Hedgehog. Enjoy.
Welcome to the Film Rescue Show. We're lending a helping hand to Hollywood, fixing their feature films' flub-ups, failures, and faux pas in CGI. Speaking of bad CGI, let's talk about the Sonic the Hedgehog movie that is one of the few movies I saw in theaters this year.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah. Second most successful movie at the box office, right after Bad Boys 3 Life.
I can't wait for director Jeff Fowler to go to the Oscars with this movie.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Jesse, can we just cancel the Oscars? Is that allowed? Can I just do that on air?
I think they did that this year.
I hope so.
I heard they actually did, because they said there's not enough films to choose from, so...
We can't give them all to the Lighthouse, all right?
That came out last year.
Wasn't that Oscar season last year, though? Wasn't it like late December?
It was.
Yeah. We are joined by two returning guests, Nick and Nick.
Hello.
Nick,
Yeah.
both of you say hi.
Hi.
Hello.
I don't know how to differentiate in this. I might just say Nick with a K and Nick with a C. Does that work?
I was gonna go with Wolf and Burger,
Yeah.
but that's fine.
That works.
Wolfenburger sounds like a restaurant that I would go to.
It sounds like one of those tap houses that brews their own beer and it has like growlers and stuff. So I'm down with that. That sounds like my type of joint.
Wolf Burger Productions, together again for the first time.
Perfect.
I mean, you guys were together on one episode when
Technically.
when we fixed the Star Wars Rise of
Skywalker,
Rise of the worst one. Anyways,
And there was a bit of overlap, surprisingly.
let's talk about Sonic the Hedgehog. Surprisingly weird takes all around. I want to start with Jesse because of all the gin joints in all the world, you were the one that jumped in the chat and was like, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. I don't see what the problem is. I have a hard time really taking a crap on this thing because it's a kid's movie. I am not the audience for this thing.
Sure.
So this plot standard, the story is standard, the character arcs are standard. It's by the numbers. It's just it's cute. That's the best thing I can say about it.
As host of that weird ass game, did you grow up on Sonic? Was this a franchise you're familiar with, or was this new to you in any way?
I played a couple of the games on the Genesis, and I think I played a little bit of the Dreamcast game, but that's about it. Everything else, I've heard that most of the Sonic games are actually not very good, as far as I've heard. I've seen reviews of many of those games, and they all look terrible. So, like, the point of the game is to go fast, but the problem is they put traps everywhere that you can't react to, so you get hit anyways. Not the best game design. It's kind of a pathetic attempt to recapture what Nintendo was doing, because the character's not that interesting. It was just sort of like an attempt to be faster than Mario, and, well, they accomplished that, but the games themselves were just kind of, they're all right, you know.
See, I knew if I gave you at least 2 more minutes, you could land on pathetic somewhere. I just wasn't sure where it was going to pop up.
Well, I mean, what is his character?
He's smarmy.
That's a very good question, because there are so many interpretations of the character, both fan and official, quote unquote.
I can't wait for the second half of this episode when we get into Sonic the Hedgehog fanfics.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah, like there's the Archie comics that ended recently. There's the IDW comics. There were the comics that were in the UK. There's there's the Japanese origin story. There's the English origin story.
There was a cartoon series as well.
It's a lot.
Oh, which one? Which one?
Oh yeah, there's multiples.
There were 3 cartoons in the 90s, 2 of which were running at the same time.
Yes.
One was the Looney Tunes show. One was the Freedom Fighter show.
Oh yeah.
the anti-capitalism one was my favorite take. Aaron, you watched this movie today.
Yes, I did.
What were your takes on what you saw?
I honestly felt it was pretty enjoyable. It was not like the type of film that I could just sit there and watch the film and focus 100% on, but like I had it on the background while I was watching Jesse on stream, and it was kind of a nice, like, watch this movie while you're working on something else kind of thing. Obviously, I'm not the target audience for it either, but, you know, it was cute. The characters were fairly likable. I really loved the beginning sequence. I thought it was really well done. The world that Sonic came from was super pretty, and I liked how well the owl was animated. I'm definitely glad they redid the design for Sonic, though, because so much of this story hinges on you liking that character. And there are, the whole time that he was just kind of like being I don't want to say being a jerk, because he was just trying to experience these things that he had wanted to experience for 10 years. But when he was in the bar, the biker bar, like a lot of those antics would not have worked if he was all eyeballs and mess like the original design.
Well,
so,
I noted to Seth that the 2 movies that came to mind when I was watching it were Pee-wee's Big Adventure and Howard the Duck.
yeah.
Smash those 2 together, you got Sonic.
Yeah, I can see that definitely for sure. I really loved Jim Carrey as Robotnik.
Oh, it's so refreshing. Oh my god, I miss Jim Carrey.
Yeah. I have
Jim Carrey never really
with
went
him as a
away.
human,
He just stopped.
But
Jim Carrey never really went away. He just stopped doing good stuff.
Well, he stopped doing this specifically, the over-the-top shtick.
This was an absolutely perfect role for. And I'll admit, I was kind of questionable about the casting at first, but I kind of like this Robotnik before he goes crazy thing, and the idea that getting sent to the mushroom world is kind of just like what pulls that final string. It's like the final straw on the camel's back that just breaks the tenuous grasp on sanity he had.
Right.
Is the mushroom world meant to be a reference to Mario?
Yes.
Oh,
I love
it.
that. I love
It can be a reference to Mario, but in one of the games, Sonic and Knuckles, the first world there is called Mushroom Hill Zone.
And which was
So
also a commentary on Mario.
Yeah, it's definitely Mario commentary.
So, let's go, Nick Berger. You're on this show. I don't know. Have we ever done a tandem pitch before? This might be a This might be a first. What was your experience with Sonic? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Do you have issues? Do you have compliments?
I liked it. I'm a big Sonic fan, so I was just like, I've been burned before. So the fact that the movie was even a little good was just so refreshing, and like, I was so already exhausted hearing like jokes about the redesign, about the original design. I was like, oh god. Oh god, not again. I have to hear.
Well, that was basically their marketing campaign at that point. Like, why pay for marketing when the internet is literally shipping your images around?
Yeah, and then
there were so many posters where you never saw his face. There was one poster of him entirely in shadow. There's a poster of his perspective looking at his long, lanky legs on the Golden Gate
feet
Bridge.
poster. The Sonic feet poster. God.
We almost saw his feet in the movie.
So it did not exhaust you. That's a good take.
I liked the movie. I mean, it was just like, for what it was, I enjoyed it, and I thought they did Sonic really well. And there was just like little things I was like, oh, okay, like little references. I was like, oh, okay, they know things about Sonic. That's neat to see, you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Are you eating something?
No,
right now?
they put like a palate extender in my mouth at the dentist, so.
Oh.
I'm glad you clarified at the dentist. I was going to be scared if it was like, I went to the gas station and they put a pallet extender in my...
I couldn't stop him.
They were too strong. There was 5 of them. Nick,
Is this Existenz again?
Whoa. Deleted
Call
scene.
back.
Nick Wolf, what was your experience with the adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog?
Okay. Well, all right, 1 minute before I can start cussing. Well, the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. I remember when when my brother would go to his friend's house and take videotape. No. That might come up later, but the positives. I'm going to be positive about the movie. Saw it on Valentine's Day with my fiance because why not? And I'm echoing basically a lot that's been said. I like this movie lived and died by the design of Sonic, well, the redesign of Sonic. And I thought, oh, this is gonna be like watching a trailer of Sonic and like saying like, ooh, can we go visit the world's biggest ball of twine? And him playing this is my big positive, the whole playing baseball with himself. Like, that was very goofy from the trailer. That was very Bugs Bunny, because that's exactly what Bugs Bunny did in one short. It's like, okay, this movie is going to be, at the very least, not terrible.
Yeah.
So when I saw it the first time, I had a not terrible time. And so much to my surprise, upon rewatching, I was surprised about how much my opinion of it had flipped about. I wouldn't. Yeah, it's weird, but I don't want to get into negatives yet. I want people to go everywhere. I want people to talk about their negatives because I got some really deep, esoteric negatives, I guess to say.
Oh, okay.
Because I also really like Sonic. Maybe I wouldn't say. I understand that this was made for a kids' audience. This was made for an audience outside of me. I understand that.
Sure.
But I'm also of the opinion that like Sonic was popular for a reason. Why it caught on? There's a reason why it caught on in the '90s. Like, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I don't think this movie caught that.
Fair.
Okay, I think I see where you're going with that. For me, let me do my positives then before we transfer into negatives. I don't think this is a video game movie. I think we should kind of put that at the forefront. This is a movie with a video game character in it. I don't know if video game movie really applies here.
No, it doesn't. I said the same thing. Like, it kind of reminded me a bit of Masters of the Universe.
Yeah.
How, due to budgetary reasons, they could not do everything in the game world, the world of the origin of the character, so they create a portal that transports them from one world to our world, so that way they can just get down the budget. and they can just shoot things very quickly.
This lampshade is very heavy on my neck.
Yeah, the beginning of the movie is in the game world, and the very last part of the movie is in the game world, and that's about it. Everything else is just practical in the real world.
Yeah.
I think the only movie that did that well with, we have this big world, but we're going to spend it most time on Earth. I think that the only movie that really did that really well was the first Thor movie, and that's because the climax took place back on Asgard.
Well, that's
But the Earth stuff is still a little fun.
Well, that's the point of the film, though, is that he's meant to sort of redeem himself. So it makes sense there. This is just like, we don't have the budget to do everything in this CGI world.
Right.
Yeah, and I even said, like, this should have just been an animated film. But Paramount does not have a very good animation division. I actually looked up a bunch of their films that have the Paramount Animation Division logo on them. Here's a couple of their films. There's only 5 of them. The SpongeBob movie, Monster Trucks, Sherlock Gnomes, Wonder Park, and then another SpongeBob movie.
To be fair, both of those
didn't Wonder Park.
Outside of the SpongeBob films,
movies.
I have never heard of those other films at all.
To be fair, both of them.
One of them has
both of the SpongeBob
One of
movies
them
are
has
good.
Keanu Reeves. One
Really?
of them has Keanu Reeves in it. Yes.
Yeah.
How have I never heard of that film?
If I'm not mistaken, Wonder Park is infamous for not having a director.
Yeah.
Yes, Dylan Brown, uncredited.
Oof, is it that bad?
So apparently they lost the director in like the first month.
Oh my
and
God.
There's a really great Folding Ideas episode about Wonder Park and why movies need directors.
Yes,
There is a reason.
just a little.
Yeah, so to stay on the positives topic, now that we've established this is not a video game movie, as a fish out of water, cute cuddly cartoon character comes to life, Ben Schwartz went for the fences. I mean, he really, I think, nailed Sonic. Maybe that's just me. I think he killed it for me. I've always loved Ben Schwartz, Parks and Rec, all the stuff that he's done. He's a very funny guy. He's into improv, which is hard to impress me with.
I'd say he's a little on the annoying side sometimes.
I think that's his charm to me. I think he's charmingly annoying. I don't disagree that he's annoying at times, but yeah, I think I can't imagine anyone else doing this movie the way that he did this movie. Like you throw any other big name young white dude, 20, 30 something into this, and it becomes vapor to me, whereas Ben Schwartz brought like an attitude to it that showed through his voice. Maybe I'm wrong.
Sorry, I'm just trying. I just pictured. I failed to picture Seth Rogen as.
No. Oh God, no.
I would have said Elijah Wood because he was the voice of Spyro the Dragon.
Oh,
I could see
okay.
him doing it.
I
could see Dan Radcliffe doing a decent job too.
I'll walk back what I said then. Maybe there are others out there, but the option is not whoever's popular right now. Like Zac Efron's voice of Sonic. God, no.
No, I've seen Scoop. No thanks.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, I don't want that. And I mean, plot-wise, I don't have much to complain about. It's kind of a gopher script. Those can be fun. Those can be tedious. This aired on the side of fun for me. Overall, I went to see this in theaters. I did give money to this movie, and I don't regret that.
Honor the many animators lost their jobs to bring us this film.
Exactly.
Yeah, we need to get into that at some point.
Yes, we'll get into that in the negatives.
I have a few more positives now that I think about it.
Okay, cool. Let me finish up my tangent here. I saw this in theaters. This was the movie that I saw before I saw Bloodshot, so it's kind of automatically better.
Well, in comparison, it's a better Bloodshot movie than Bloodshot.
Yeah, I actually saw some concept art that got released for the Bloodshot film that was pitched back in 2010. Guess who was supposed to be who was meant to play Bloodshot?
Jim Carrey.
Oh,
fucking Sam Worthington. Jivinich kidding me?
No.
You motherfucker! I cannot escape this.
No.
Well, I might
Oh,
bring that up
mother
later.
of fucking God. Move on.
Yeah. Okay. So moving on. Not a bad theater going experience. The theater I saw was a later showing, so there were no kids, but there was still laughter at the jokes. I'm having a hard time finding like a genuine like bad thing. Like there are some negatives I have for sure, but they err on the side of like I would have preferred, quote unquote, as compared to like, oh, that was bad. Even like James Marsden was bringing it along with Jim Carrey. The one standout scene to me is when Jim Carrey comes to his house and they're like working off of each other comedically. I didn't know James Marsden could be funny. I didn't know. It took this to find out.
Well, he has experience acting opposite of CGI characters that aren't actually there.
Oh,
'Cause of
yeah.
that
Oh, man,
Hop
that's
movie from
right.
2011 that I never saw.
I really think Tom, excuse me, I really think Tom and Maddie's relationship was portrayed in a really good way too.
Yeah.
They
Oh,
seemed
yeah.
like they were genuinely really happy with each other, and I liked the way the two of them played off of each other.
Agreed. Yeah, that's it for my positives. This like Jesse said, this movie's fine. I'm glad that we're talking about it because it means I didn't have to suffer through a movie. I had like a genuinely good time.
We're approaching the end of the season, so we're kind of like, can we please watch okay movies now?
Yes, no, literally, somebody turned on Twilight last night, and I had to walk out of the room. I was like, if you had done this in the summer, I could have sat through it and made fun of it, but it's too late in the season for Film Rescue for me to watch bad movies.
Sorry, I just saw Paresh in the chat go, Galaxy Brain, Danny DeVito as
Ooh.
Sonic, and I'm just laughing because
Because Pikachu.
you're not that far off when you
Oh,
get
that would be
into my
weird.
pitch or pitches.
Oh, interesting. Well,
Yeah, I got two short pitches for this because I started with one idea, but then this other idea steadily gained steam.
so
like,
you
okay.
said you had more positives before
Yeah,
we switched
I had a few
to.
more positives. Like I have never seen any of these other characters with their own unique worlds, but we're shoving them into this world movies. I've seen like reviews and essays of them, like the Alvin and Chipmunks movie, Smurfs, and Peter Rabbit. Like from what I've heard about them, Sonic does seem like one of the better
Yeah.
ones. Although, let's be honest, the best road trip movie with characters acting against cartoons is Looney Tunes Back in
Yeah.
Action.
I was gonna say that.
Yeah, but that's not fair to
I'm so
Sonic.
sad that movie didn't make money.
I remember seeing that in the theater, and I walked out thinking, was I supposed to laugh? I didn't laugh. I don't know. Maybe I was in a bad mood when I saw it. I need to watch it again.
It's. I mean, it is again another one of those like it's fine. I don't think it's like the best representation. Some of the jokes aged better than you would expect. The Scooby Doo live action joke. That one has aged well. I'll put it that way.
Okay.
Yeah. Hang on. Let me just stretch before I reach here. Okay. All right. So the scene where Tom shoots Sonic in his shit. So I did. Again, this is stretching before I reach. But if I'm thinking too hard about this movie is kind of about a boy who came from a world where there was like unrest, at least with the echidnas we saw. So there's
Sure.
like civil unrest in his homeland, and his mother figure brought him to Earth / America, and he's been living in this planet illegally for 10 years. And when he has to leave, like he gets shot by a cop who shot him first and didn't ask questions later. And then we introduce Robotnik, who is a very powerful man. He said, like, "I've done everything you were going to do before you even got out of grade school or something." So we have Robotnik, who has an abuse of power. We have Tom Wachowski, who maybe he made an honest mistake, maybe he didn't. And there was Sonic, who was born powerful but doesn't seem to be doing anything wrong. So there could like this is not what the movie was going for at all. But there's stuff the movie in like going back to Star Wars prequels, like another time where I was punching above my weight class. There is stuff in the movie that the movie does not know is there. Like you could have done. I feel like you could have done really done something comparing, like doing a better job comparing these three people and their life, like their life experiences and why they do what they do. And
I think I see what you're punging for, and maybe I'll be the one to bring the subtext into text. So you're saying that Jim Carrey is Trump, and James Marsden is Cops, and Sonic is a dream child, right? That's what you're getting at here?
Maybe.
I
wasn't taking it that far, but you're taking it to the extreme.
I just want to make sure I'm plodding along here with you.
Okay, nobody can stretch long enough to make that kind of a reach.
Okay, if it were intentional, and I think I said the same thing about...
Like when I left the movie, I thought, oh, this is kind of like American Paddington, maybe.
Oh, okay, that's a more succinct take, I think.
Yeah.
I think I said the same thing on your prequels about George Lucas. If the intentionality was there, I'd give this to you, but I don't give that amount of credit to what was actually happening here.
I like looking into things. I like looking into things more than they were ever meant to be.
If this is your take, like your individuality take, 100%, I give this to you A+ for effort.
I would have loved it if this movie just went a little bit harder and we got all these BuzzFeed articles about, does Sonic the Hedgehog have something to say about cops in 2020?
I can see the articles in my head, and I know exactly what you're talking about. I have
written the articles.
I could live in that universe. I'll put it that way. I don't think that's really what happened.
No.
So let's get into negatives, and I will launch into this one. Hey, so rings are kind of important in the Sonic game, and they are really shoehorned into this movie.
Yeah.
I feel like specifically because less than 2 decades ago, we got the Lord of the Rings movies. There was anything else you could do with rings in this movie, and their option was portals, which is, I love the Portal games. You could do a lot more interesting stuff with these things than what they were. That's my big negative takeaway.
I do address that somewhat in one of the pitches.
Perfect.
Yeah. There's not even a reference at all to the Chaos Gems.
No.
No,
Well,
like you could have used those.
And maybe that's their Infinity Stones. Maybe that's their Infinity Stones for later. I don't know. Aaron, how about you? Negatives to this very fine kids movie.
I mean, I think the biggest negative is just that it's simplistic, and I feel like there's a lot more that they could have done with it. It's a very A happens, then B happens, then C happens. Most of the plot is very predictable. I mean, as is per fairly standard for a kids movie. Some of the jokes were just a little too, I guess, on the nose, maybe. I do like bad puns as much as everybody, but there were a couple that just kind of landed soft on me, I think. I didn't really think there was anything that bad. It just felt kind of easy and uninspired, I guess would probably be the best way to say how I feel about it. I just feel like there's a lot of things that you could have done with the character that weren't done. Because I grew up in the 90s, so like if I had to pitch what I would like to see for a Sonic movie, it would just be a 90-minute long version of that cartoon. Yeah. I don't think needed to be live action.
The communist
really
one for sure.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I don't think it benefited that much from being live action. I think they could have made the same movie as an animated feature, saved a ton of money, and it would have been a lot easier. I don't know. I guess those were like my major negatives, were just that it's pretty simplistic, it's pretty uninspired. If you're going to give me CGI Sonic, I really want to see more. I loved like the bar scene, the bar fight scene, and the baseball scene. Were
The
two of
Quicksilver
my
scene.
favorite things. Yeah,
the Quicksilver scene.
they were two of my favorite moments, and I feel like I wanted more of that. There was a lot of exposition of him just sitting by himself and things like that, and I'm like, okay, you would have like exposition, and then there was like, oh, here's how I work out, and here's how I play ping pong, and I'm like, there's some more exposition, and here's how I do this, and here's how I do that, and I'm like, I feel like the exposition and him moving fast and doing things fast needed to be more tightly interwoven, where it wasn't like this is exposition, this is Sonic being Sonic, this is exposition, this is Sonic being Sonic, this is Tom's exposition, this is Tom being Tom, this is Sonic's exposition, this is Sonic being Sonic. I don't know. I guess it just felt a little bit disjointed, and I feel like they could have done the exposition in tandem. Like, one of the ways that they did exposition really well was when they were going through his little checklist of things that he wanted to do, and while he was going crazy doing things, and I felt like that was better exposition than a lot of the stuff that we got in the first 30 minutes of the film.
So you'd like some compare and contrast to your main characters.
Yeah, I think that would be really interesting. I you know what would have been really cool? Seeing, like, the way Sonic gets ready for his day, and then seeing the way Tom and Maddie get ready for their day, and things like that. To kind of, because, like, you do have these characters that end up being friends, even though they're quite different, and I felt like, I guess, there needed to be a little bit more parallelism in the initial first half, but I also feel like there were a lot of scenes where things were just being explained to me like I was a child, and I get that it is a kid's movie, but, you know.
Kids' movies can be deep. Like, there's no
Yes.
reason why not.
There are a lot of kids' movies that have deeper references and deeper things for adults to watch to like. SpongeBob is really good at doing things like, one of my favorite SpongeBob gags is when Nosferatu is turning the lights on and off, and you just have this cut to Nosferatu. Like, the kids watching don't understand that the way an adult does.
Sure.
I wanted to see some more of, hey, adults are going to watch this beyond just, oh, we had him eat a chili dog and fart. Isn't that reminiscent of the cartoon?
You want some Pixar in your
Yes!
movie. I understand.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a little first drafty. I definitely get
Yeah.
that feeling.
Yeah.
Let's go to Nick Berger. Negatives from you for this movie, if you have.
I mean, it's like kind of hard because like I made my peace with what the movie would be a long time ago. It's just like if I was making a Sonic movie, I wouldn't make it this. You know, I would also make an animated movie, and even if I was doing like live action mix, it's just why put him with like just a cop? You know, like just some random white guy. There's so many more interesting types of characters you could put him with that I think they could go off. They could like play off each other well. Add more, more characters, more Sonic characters could add a more interesting dynamic. It's fine for what it is, but I wouldn't have made it. Shouldn't have been what it is, I guess.
Yeah, you're also canonically the deep cut guy on this show, so I'm very curious when we get into the pitch area, and maybe you can think about this leading up into then. What kind of things are, I think, worth adding into the cinematic version of Sonic? I think there's, for me, the fact that there were no birds turned into robots, and Jim Carrey is the guy to deliver that as a thing in a movie. Yeah, we're turning birds into robots, or little forest critters into robots. What? Yes, we're doing it. Fuck you. You should understand. I'm a genius. Don't question me.
Ace Ventura gone bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it makes sense, and I see what you're going for there. Jesse, how about you? I know you said it's hard to shit on this movie. You don't have to shit on it, but things that didn't work for you.
A lot of the comedy fell flat. Like you said, it feels like a first draft. It didn't make me laugh very much. I think it was like one or two times I giggled, but that was about it. Also, I know the CGI was redone. But it does feel a bit like Sonic doesn't quite visibly fit into the environment.
Sure.
I mean, that's obviously because, hey, we had to fix the thing in post.
There are times it's very obvious that they had a little green screen creature in what they were shooting.
Yeah, it's like a little guy in a suit.
Yes.
But it doesn't. It still looks very fake sometimes.
If James Gunn can do Rocket Raccoon, there's no reason you can't do Sonic and make it look realistic.
But that's Disney money.
That's true.
Yeah, this is not Disney money. This is only like, what, $85 million, something like that, compared to, what, the $200 million of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies?
You're not wrong.
Yeah, so it's definitely a bit of a shift. Also, another negative, fuck Paramount for firing your entire animation division before
Thank
fucking
you.
Christmas.
Yeah.
Fuck you assholes. Fuck all of you. You pieces of shit. Didn't even give them any severance pay. Just fucking cut them loose. It's a shady time in filmmaking these days.
If you're into CGI animation, I respect you, but also watch your back because no one's looking out for you but you right now.
Yeah, there is no union for CGI animators. There is no union.
Yet.
Yes. Yeah. For the love of God, why are you guys not unionizing? Because without you guys, there would not be Marvel movies. There would not be a Sonic movie. There should be a union because every fucking movie that comes out of Hollywood depends on you. If you guys just stop
I have a feeling it's Disney. That's the reason. Like, Disney has done a lot of work to ensure that people in Hollywood cannot unionize.
sure.
They've been doing it ever since Walt was still alive. He was preventing his animators from unionizing.
Oh, I'm not surprised. I mean, for those who don't realize, hey, big corporations don't like unions. What a fucking shock. You know, it's going all the way back to the Great Depression. They didn't like unions at all because unions would prevent corporations from making profit. And we thought, oh, we have to respect our workers? Fuck
How
that.
dare they demand equal pay?
How dare you demand health insurance? God damn. But yeah, like we need this. We made $300 million from this, and you want like $20 million of that? Fuck you.
2020 really has been the year that Film Rescue and subsequent podcasts have been like anti-capitalist. Like we are anti-capitalist on Main now.
Well, because the cracks are finally starting to really show through in this time when there are no movies coming out in theaters.
Well,
people are realizing. Yeah, go ahead.
How many fixes and podcasts have we done where the fix is, well, this wouldn't have been so bad if it weren't for capitalism?
Yeah.
I mean, we literally talked about 47 Ronin yesterday, the movie that was broken by capitalism.
Yeah, or Doolittle, that was a capitalist, quote unquote, allegedly
Nightmare.
scam.
Oh?
Like things like that.
Hypothetically.
Hypothetically. Yeah, that's the thing. Like we're seeing all this crap coming out now, and we're seeing that it's just about money. It's not about creativity, and that's the problem with this movie is that it's a template film. This is based on a previously existing template, and they just plugged in Sonic and Robotnik.
Yeah. I mean, and as it's been established in canon, Sonic is anti-capitalist.
Correct.
So this is anti his. That's the big negative. This is anti the character of Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh yeah, Sonic would not be friends with a cop.
No.
Mm-mm.
But this is a kids' movie, so let's maybe keep it a little lighthearted. Nick Wolf, your negatives for the movie.
Oh, where do I start?
Is this where we get existential, or did that happen already?
This is some of it's happened, but there is so yeah, Sonic being friends with a cop, questionable. Sonic living comfortable.
Get it out.
Sonic living in the Midwest.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's not impossible for him to live where there's like caves for shelter and lots of greenery and whatnot.
Sure.
But again, going back to when the character was created in the 90s, and when you really look at when you dig deep into the games, they are very pro-environment and anti-animal cruelty, anti-animal testing.
Yep.
Like, Sonic is a subversive character.
Sonic is an eco-terrorist.
And, like, yeah,
Yes.
Sonic is an eco-terrorist. And to put him in the mid fucking West and sand down his personality to where he's just a kid and he looks much more cute and cuddly and like pairing it up with square jaw man. I don't know. It really rubbed me the wrong way in my rewatch. Yeah.
It's almost intentionally.
They didn't feel a need to put in like an environmentalist message because that would be perceived as very left wing, and film studios try to stay apolitical these days because they want to get the entire audience on their side. So films don't really do that anymore, have like a political message with the environment, even though we all agree, hey, don't fuck up the environment because it's the only place we have to live. It doesn't matter because there's always those assholes that don't give a fuck. So they just try to do that shit to get the audience in there, and they don't give a crap what the hell the content of the film is.
Also,
like 5-year-old kids give a fuck.
I mean, they would. They gave us Captain Planet, Jesse.
Well, yeah, but Captain Planet is gone now,
No!
and no one watches it.
Bring him back.
Nick screaming, no!
If Captain Planet came back now, he would be armed with like 2 assault rifles, okay?
Yeah, we've seen that Robot Chicken sketch. I get it.
Yeah, exactly.
We've seen the Don Cheadle short.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that one. That was a thing that happened.
By the way, happy birthday, Don Cheadle. Today's his birthday.
Oh, nice.
Us and happenstances, man.
Dude, oh, God.
Please make it past 2020.
Yeah.
Nobody else die, please. I called that the other day. We have a curse on this podcast.
Also rewatching the movie, I almost thought, should James Marsden be added to the amalgam human?
No.
Yeah. He's got charisma. He's got charm. He's okay.
Yeah.
For Cyclops, I understand the knee-jerk reaction there, but overall, no. Think about Enchanted.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been in some good stuff. He's a genuinely good actor. He does a lot of theater as well, so he's pretty good. I would give him a pass. He's not Vin Diesel or Scott Eastwood. He doesn't have like zero personality. He's got charm.
It's just that with James Marsden, I can't help but think of him as that guy who always gets cucked in movies.
He's married to a beautiful woman in this movie. Like, he's not cucked at all.
And she's smart and a
I've
vet.
seen clips of Sonic 06. Don't say it couldn't happen.
Well, I'm on Aaron's side on this one.
I will say it is a positive interracial relationship in this film. That's nice. Although it doesn't quite make sense why it's interracial in the Midwest in a red state, but okay.
I mean, there are people of color in those states.
Yes, I know, but I just it felt like a bit of a stretch.
I would like to point out, if you have a free 5 minutes, go down that side of Twitter and find out why people were mad about that relationship.
Oh, no.
It's because they were racist.
Oh, what a fucking surprise.
Also another thing that fueled the whole why is Sonic a friend with a cop in this movie? There was Tika Sumpter's sister all the way out in San Francisco who seemed to hate James Marsden for no reason. And like, that's because he's a cop from Montana who wants to move to San Francisco. Anyone would be mad about that.
I wish that was text in the movie and not the subtext that we're adding in this podcast. I really do. Are there any other glaring negatives? No one's mentioned Jim Carrey in a negative context so far.
No,
so
he's the best part.
I'm assuming that was the best casting of this movie.
Oh, one more negative. They wasted my man Neil McDonough in this movie.
They sure did.
No, he's an asshole. No, he's a dick.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's a huge Trump supporter. Fuck that guy. There's a reason he got kicked off Arrow.
Oops.
Fuck that guy. He's a horrible guy.
Right,
why do you think he hasn't been in any more Marvel movies?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they finished off his contract with that post-credits scene where he's sitting there with Howard Stark.
It's called a bikini.
Yeah, he's not a good guy.
Okay, fair enough.
Sonic the Hedgehog. This is
The silence was the best.
this is the year we got the movie that fans were clamoring for. Okay, I do have
Was
I do have
anybody
a thought
clamoring
about
for this?
Yes.
the people that wanted it to be reshot with different CGI that didn't pay to see the movie.
But
Yeah.
how do I don't know how to feel about this movie furthering the idea that people on the internet can complain about something so hard and people will cater to them.
Yeah.
Like Paramount should have gotten it right the first time. I do agree to that, but between this and the Snyder cut and I don't know what's something else that happened but didn't need to happen.
No, you could just end there.
Mass Effect 3.
That
was 10
is
years
kind of
ago,
the last boss of things that are happening that don't need to happen.
The final boss before the end of the game. Will the Snyder Cut bring down Hollywood? Please let it.
Oh god. Collapse from the
Let it
inside.
cave in. Let it cave in.
So I have a question for you guys. Is Sonic the only character that can function in this kind of movie? Because to me, if you sub out Sonic for Mario, this movie's not functional.
No. This.
Oh god, that would be worse.
You can sub him out with the Flash. That would work just fine. Or Quicksilver.
No, video game character.
Well,
Yeah, video game characters specifically, like
Fair enough.
mascot characters. Actually, let me
Crash
be very.
Bandicoot?
Crash would be a
Yeah, maybe
he'd be a
Crash.
disaster in this.
Crash Bandicoot is just slower Sonic.
Spyro. Spyro.
Yeah,
would work with.
I was about to say Spyro.
Ooh,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, you could sub in like any kind of cutesy kid character, as long as the character's intention is that it's not always if it's absolutely intended they be in their world, sure. Like Mario, it's meant to be in the Mushroom Kingdom, but with Sonic, it like there's the Mushroom Hills and there's a casino level and there's an underwater level. It's like it's a little bit of everything. You can kind of sub in anywhere.
I'm
So
I'm kind of sad glitching and speedruns weren't mentioned or used at all in this movie.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. You have a metatextual Sonic that realizes that he's glitching through the game and he somehow beats the end boss by doing something really stupid.
I'm not saying it has to be Deadpool, but like at least reference the things that are related to your material.
Yeah. This did feel a little bit like Deadpool at some points, like kids Deadpool.
Wasn't Tim Miller a
He was.
producer?
He was for a
Yes,
minute.
he was. And he dropped out, I think.
He was supposed to direct originally.
What happened
and
with
they
that?
got some random guy.
Listen, Jeff Fowler's not a random guy. He directed nothing else.
He graduated from my school.
Like, didn't he animated?
Really?
He did like
Yeah.
animatics for some movie.
He did
that's
animation for Where the Wild Things Are, which is a good.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
That's Spike Jonze, right?
Yes.
I thought
Yes.
so. I was just watching
Wait,
a
wait,
Jackass
somebody who
movies
did
last night.
animation directed the original like shitty Sonic look. Is that what we're saying here? Is
Yes.
that? Oh
Yes.
wow,
He's
that's,
That's why
that's sad.
That's why I believe this is just a template movie, because if it was something really inventive and creative, he probably would never have finished it.
Can I drop an allegedly here?
Go ahead.
Go.
Hypothetically, if you were bullied by Twitter to redesign your character, you might bring in a animator such as, I don't know, maybe Jeff Fowler to take over directing your movie from Tim Miller. Hypothetically and allegedly.
Jeff Fowler was directing
So
at
the
that
Tim
point.
Miller was the guy that fucked up the first time.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
that makes a little more
Allegedly.
sense.
that makes sense.
I'm not going to say that's what happened, but if I'm putting on my dumb Hollywood producer brain, that's what happened.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Hypothetically.
Because Paramount wants this to be a franchise. So.
Well, they're getting their sequel, and Jeff Fowler's
Good.
directing it, so he's got his second movie.
Yeah,
where
I'm
do
excited
you
about
go
Tails
with
though,
this
so
movie?
I'm gonna watch it.
Oh yeah,
regardless.
Tails. That's a positive.
I love
Yeah,
Tails.
Tails showing for
Tails
his
with Tails with the voice actor actually from the game.
Oh, yeah. I hope so.
Why did they
would
not
be
get the voice
amazing.
actor from the game?
His voice acting in the game's bad.
Okay.
Yeah, Sonic's not known for his voice. He's known for his visuals.
Oh, but they got Chris Redfield voicing Sonic now.
Yeah, he sounds 40.
Well, considering how long these games have been around, he technically is almost 40.
Yeah.
Fair.
30 is the new 40 is what we're saying.
No, I think 40 is the new 30, if we're being accurate.
Whatever. Moving on.
So about this kids movie, Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, I will say another negative is that Robotnik doesn't really look like Robotnik most of the time.
Did you see the Easter egg at the end?
Yeah, yes, I know that, but I'm just saying,
I kind of like that. I kind of like the fact that Sonic sending him to the Mushroom World is like the final thing that breaks him and turns him into insane Robotnik. I didn't like it when I was watching the movie, but when I watched the post-credits scene, I'm like, all right, I'm on board. Like, because especially they're doing a sequel and they're going to be true to the image in the sequel, presumably, I'm okay with it.
If these movies get more absurd as we go, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Like if this was the in and like the next movie's just like half CGI and then by the time we get to like the third or fourth they're just fully CGI and absurd, I'm fine with that. I have no issues.
Well, and I mean, here's the thing. I've said this a million times on this show. The one thing that I hate is when a company is trying to start a franchise and they try to shove every fucking thing into their first franchise film. I prefer it when a franchise starts out fairly simple. They keep things small for the first film because you're always going to be expected to top what you've done in the previous films. So because this is such a milquetoast, honestly, entry into the Sonic franchise, I think it gives them a really good way to ramp up without having to be like, oh, fuck, we did all of these insane stunts in the first film. How are we ever going to top it realistically for the second film? So I kind of like that it's simplistic because of the fact that it's intended as a franchise starter.
That makes sense.
Yeah, there's one way you can spin how small scale this movie is into a positive. It starts small. It starts uncomplicated.
Yeah.
And that leaves room to branch out.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I think a lot of franchises like shoot themselves in the foot because they make the first movie so complicated that people that aren't interested in the franchise can't get involved in it. Like, there wasn't anything about this film that someone who's never heard of Sonic doesn't understand. Like, there is absolutely no barrier for entry for this film, and I think that's really great for something that you're intending as a franchise starter. And I also wonder if that's why they've veered away from the comic book movie feel, the video game movie feel. I'm so used to talking about comic book films on this show.
This is oddly not a comic book movie. I
No.
was kind of shocked that it wasn't more like that. Now that you bring it up.
Yeah.
Again, despite the many comics Sonic has had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
An
And the
actual
comic
book
references.
character.
Like, it would have been really easy to make this feel like The Flash, but it really didn't feel like The Flash at all. Like, the characterization of Sonic was completely different than any incarnation of The Flash that I've ever seen.
Oh,
I do love that Sonic has a big collection of
yeah.
Flash cooked
Yeah.
I
Flash
love
books
that.
in his
Oh,
cave.
you haven't seen Justice League, have you, Aaron?
Nope, and I
Yeah.
don't want to.
Well, too bad. We have to do the Snyder Cut next
Yeah,
year.
you're saving it for the Spider Cut. I understand.
I think we're still assuming it's going to come out. I'm honestly ready for the
Suck my butt. I'm not watching that.
I'm ready for the great big article that is WB's $100 million disaster that never gets released.
God, that'd be so funny.
That feels as much of an option as actually getting the movie right now to me
Yes.
is the option of it just never comes out.
If that happens, and also Zack Snyder never gets to direct anything again, I'd be pretty happy with my life.
Go to director
There's
jail.
someone on-
Well,
There's
he's still
someone
got
on you-
Army of the Dead to come out, so.
That's another one that I'm
there's
like,
someone-
not
happening.
shocked if it never comes out.
Yeah, if he never
there's someone
directs,
on you.
that's on
Go ahead.
Netflix. It's on Netflix.
And there's someone on YouTube who has been splicing a lot of the game music into scenes from the movie and even making like their own trailers. I just want the Sonic trailer with Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah.
In
Oh
black
Oh
and
my
white.
god,
God.
I love Leonard Cohen.
Can somebody please recut the Sonic trailer with Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah right now?
That's your next project.
God.
It'll take you 2 minutes. I could probably do it during the next section if I had to.
That brings me to another negative about this movie. Did the music for this was done by Tom Hulkenberg, Junkie XL? Did anybody even notice the score in this
Nope.
movie?
No, I was just about to say I didn't even notice the music.
This feels like a work for hire thing. He needed to pay his rent that month. Yeah. Like you did Mad Max Fury Road, and like you've put out some fantastic scores over the years, and this is what you did for
Actually,
Sonic?
I lied. At the beginning, when they were doing the like Sega intro that was supposed to look like the Marvel Studios logo.
Oh yeah, and it sounds
I
like
was
it says Sega. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool, I guess. That was the
We're
only
getting
time
the
I noticed
Altered
the music.
When are we getting our Altered Beast movie?
God.
Would you
Soon,
like
I
to
hope.
explain what Ultra Beast is, or are you assuming that the fans of the show will understand?
I am assuming that they know.
If you know, you
No.
know.
No. There is other, not really a negative, but thing that just made me sad when I was watching this. Michael Hogan has a small role in this movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Battlestar Galactica alum Michael Hogan, Saltai. For those who don't know, he was at a convention for signings, I think back in February, and he fell and hit his head, and he went to bed that night, and he had a brain aneurysm or a brain bleed, and he's paralyzed on one side, can't speak, and needs a feeding tube
Oh,
now.
God.
Wow.
Yeah, so Michael Hogan, this was, I think, was his last film before he permanently injured himself. He's still alive, but yeah, he's probably never expected to recover.
Damn.
That sucks.
That sucks.
Yeah. He has one scene in this movie as a military general.
Yep.
And that's it. And it's a shame.
On a more positive note, Gary Chalk is in the movie
Yes.
as another one of those generals, and he voiced Grounder and Robotnik in the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog show. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
He also does voices
That's
on different Transformers things,
sure does.
which is a very Nick thing for me to bring up.
I met him at a con. It was great.
Oh, that's wonderful. I'd love to hear that.
He's so nice.
Speaking of
One
Transformers,
more positive. What?
speaking
Go
of
ahead.
Transformers, Nick, did you still want to do the third one next year? Because I want to hear Seth's brain
Ooh,
explode.
I'd be down.
I might have to actually live stream you watching that movie because y'all aren't ready for the meltdown.
I honestly have more ideas for 4, though.
Oh, fuck, I can't watch it again.
Wait,
I cannot watch that.
Is 4 the
That's
one
the
with
dinosaur
dinosaurs?
one.
Yeah.
I
That's
forget.
the dinosaur one.
Okay.
Yeah, I cannot watch that again. I saw it in the theater for when Brandon and I were doing our show, and I barely survived without throwing shit at the screen. I can't watch that again.
That movie.
The only thing I remember about Transformers 4 is like there's crap going on in Beijing or whatever, and there's this one guy whose car is destroyed, and he yells at Mark Wahlberg, "I hope you have insurance." It's like, insurance for the big alien invasion happening? And he cracks a beer open up on the guy's
That's the best
car.
part of the
Oh,
It's like,
God.
why don't you get my space gun? All I remember about that movie.
That is the cinematic equivalent of America giving a great big sloppy blowjob to China, and that's
Yeah.
all thanks to
Yeah.
Michael Bay.
For every MAGA motherfucker out there that says, "Oh, we can't respect China, we hate China," dude, we suck their dick every fucking time we make a movie.
We are gagging on their balls. Like, let's be really honest about what's happening.
Jesus Christ, you dumb motherfuckers don't understand capitalism at all, do you?
One more positive I had about the movie.
There's a movie?
One more positive I had about Sonic. The guy who was like the head of the military, I want to say not the military, the government. What the hell was he the head of anyway? Yeah, I got the Wikipedia page open. No, not Tikasaka. Tom Butler as like the commander of the government. I thought he was pretty funny. He had a lot of the. What's his name? He had a lot of Hot Shots 1 and 2 energy. He was like,
yeah, okay.
He reminded me a lot of the guy who's like, I quit the wrong day to quit sniffing glue. It's like he's the best we got. Hear about the uprising in Iran? No, sir, no. What about the turmoil in Azerbaijanistan? That's not even a country. Yeah, huh? And you can thank Republic.
Some of the lines, I think specifically the military stuff, was maybe a little too over the head for kids. And to what Aaron was saying earlier, probably the most Pixar-esque stuff. I wish there was more. I'll put it that way.
And you might see that in one of my pitches is a rewrite, and one pitch is me getting something of a whole cloth. So you got that to look forward to after the break.
Sounds like we're throwing to a break.
Yeah, because I need to find my charger for my laptop, so it doesn't die.
Perfect timing. Hey, let's take a break real quick. When we come back, we will fix question mark? Give more pitches for Sonic the Hedgehog. This was fine, but we can do better. And we will do better.
We have the technology.
Well, we're about to charge the technology, apparently.
And Paramount apparently had the technology.
To do it twice.
Yeah!
This is the $137 that's amount on the Patreon. This is the $137 pitch.
163 now.
Okay, 63, nice.
Thank you, patrons. This is for you. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show. We're talking about Sonic the Hedgehog. And the Knicks have pitches. Plural. I think maybe everybody might have a pitch by the end of this, but we'll see where we arrive at. I'm very interested. Let's start with Nick Berger. You're on this because obviously 2 Knicks is better than 1. Not to imply that Nick is bad in any way. I'm stepping on my own feet. I'm curious if you have a pitch for this, because I've heard hide nor hair from you about what you would do in this Sonic situation.
Start with Nick Wolf so I can find my pitch, because I was not prepared to bring it.
What I meant to say was Nick Wolf. You have pitches, plural. So let's start with you.
I got 2, technically 3. The third one is a joke I can sum up in one sentence.
Well, let's do the joke one first. That should be fun.
Serious.
Or is it better later? Is it better later?
It's better if I weave you 2 tales for the price of 1, and then give off the joke.
That's a reference to a character from this movie. 2 Tails?
Is it?
Two.
Oh,
wow. Am I the only Sonic fan here? All right, fuck me, I guess.
Oh, okay. All right. So last time I was on the show, I did all 3 prequels. And I made sure to write down a script for everything to make sure my words were going to be right. I didn't do that for this. I made a spreadsheet of breaking down like the basic 3-act structure and plugging in plot points where I saw appropriate. And I posted a link in the Discord, and you two can access it and read off other pitches and add to your own to figure out your own pitches and figure out story structure in general. And So the first pitch is basically a rewrite of the movie we got.
Sure.
And so if I'm being stuck with the movie we got, I can at least put more polish into everything to make it at least stand out from the standard road movies / CGI character interacting with people scenario. So it's going to be starting off at night. It's going to be the scene where Tom, or is it Tom, using his speed gun to no avail. And it's going to be intercut with Crazy Carl getting ready to hunt the Blue Devil again. Referencing that to leave the scene. Oh god, I am so dehydrated. Yeah,
Hydrate, you bastard, hydrate!
Yeah, Sonic's messing with the cop on the road, and he drives away, almost crushes the turtle. I'm bringing that back. And he's like, you gotta be more careful, buddy. And Sonic checks his watch. He has a watch that tells him how many rings he's got. And yeah, he has rings. More on that later. Oh, did we lose someone?
Paresh.
Oh. He didn't like where I was going. Anyway, so
you fail. Moving on.
Hey, Paresh left, but Craig's still sticking around. So
thank Christ, Craig.
So yeah, he's like, Sonic's checking his time, and we also see the time, and he sees it's almost like 8 o'clock or whatever, and he also tells him the year, 1991. That's right.
Hey.
This is going to be a 90s throwback movie.
That's my birth year.
And so we have the scene of him running with the turtle along the highway, but he's running to do his annual foiling of Crazy Carl's traps, and we're gonna have an actual opening sequence for this. Like, remember opening sequences for movies?
I wish
And not just
I wish they
checking
existed.
everything at the end. So yeah, we're gonna have an opening sequence where we see people's names and it's all colorful, and we get a display of what Sonic can do with his speed. Like, he's not going absurdly fast, but he's doing like fast. He's doing stuff that looks fun because it's being done fast, and it's set to. This opening sequence is set to running in the 90s by Initial D, because
Perfect.
All right, so we get to foil. He foils Crazy Carl, and then he takes the turtle back with him to his cave. He's like, home sweet home, and he sees that the turtle has a scratch on it, and is like, oh, you've been through a lot, buddy, but it's okay. We got everything here. We got ping pong. We've got a foosball. We've got a chair that is yours now. And he's a little hesitant looking at the second chair, but again, there's more on that later. And then we go to Tom's Day. Okay, I'm just gonna right away say that I am going to be recasting Tom with, like, I don't think there's anything too wrong with James Marsden in here, but there is that certain kind of actor who is fun to watch bounce off of things that are not there. Like, again, with Brendan Fraser in the Mummy movies and Looney Tunes Back in Action, like, he's really great at it. I'm not saying we're casting Brendan Fraser, or
Damn it.
maybe no, we're not casting Brendan Fraser.
You're not.
But I thought, yeah,
Damn.
maybe he'll come back since that Neil McDonough is excommunicado from this pitch now.
There you go. Yep, Brendan Fraser goes into his role. Tiny role, but he can do it between the seasons of Doom Patrol.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, recasting Tom with another actor from the 90s, Chris Tucker.
Interesting.
Yeah, because I think that he could get away, like the scene where they're trying to get Sonic's rings from the tower, and he's just talking about how they brought me in from out of state. Yeah, that's how you know this is serious. I feel like Chris Tucker could get away with that better, like being the fast talker that we know and love him as.
Yeah.
Also, this is not going to be in Montana or whatever. This is going to be on the West Coast around, like, either Washington or Oregon State, near. Because, like, I want them to go into a city later on instead of just a bar, you know?
Sure. I mean, no issues with that bar, but it was kind of middle of nowhere-ish. I mean, what even highway was that? We don't know.
I mean, maybe there's a bar in this version, but I just imagine Sonic being more around, like, cities. Like, a lot of the games I play with him, there are a lot of city levels in there.
Sure.
In those games. All right, so we get a little insight into not Tom. Should I name him Tom? I have him as Chris in my.
I mean,
sure. he can play a Tom. He can play.
Chris, Tom,
Oh,
I'm
let's just
fine
go.
with either.
Does it
we just
change the character when you change the name?
Not with those white-ass names.
There you go.
Wait, keep him as Chris so it can be like Sonic X.
Ah!
Yeah. So we get through Chris's day. He's helping with the ducks and whatnot, and he's like, that's another thing. Like, James Marsden didn't really seem like he could have gone either way, going from either Montana or San Francisco. It doesn't make any difference to him. Well, here I want there to be more. I want it to be more apparent that he is kind of unhappy living in, like, a little podunk town, so that he can have, like, some change or realization come the climax of the movie. Alright, so basically same thing. We see him helping Crazy Carl after the townsfolk are writing him off, and he's like, I'm pulling from a lot of the deleted scenes from the movie, but I think they add character at the very least.
I haven't seen them. Is there a supercut we can watch?
Probably. All right, so we've got the. So we move on to Sonic at the baseball field. Like he's upset and he causes a big power explosion. And then we cut to the government, which I'm adding a lot more references from the games. I'm bringing stuff from the games and the comics into this movie again, so it stands out more. So we cut to a building that's implied to be the central government of America, and it's called the Guardian Units of the Nation, or in other words, GUN. That's actually in the games.
Oh,
that is for real.
Oh God.
And it's the director of GUN who brings in Robotnik, who's by Jim Carrey. He's again going back to the roots of Sonic as a franchise a bit more. This Robotnik looks a lot more looks and acts a bit more like Teddy Roosevelt.
Interesting.
Like he's a real mountain man, a renegade, a Renaissance man, and that feeds into his superiority. So, sorry, I keep getting distracted by these.
You're good.
Okay. So, comes back. So, like a lot of the movie proceeds like normal. Like we get Robotnik interacting with Brendan Fraser now and the army, and it's like, I'm in charge here. And there's just a whole bunch of like when he brings out his drones, they actually look like some of the robots from some of the badniks from the game, like the Motobug, the Buzz Bomber, etc., etc.
Okay.
Yeah, again, more like the game, more like the game. That's the motto in this rewrite. So we get Sonic trying to leave, and he finds his way to someplace safe, which is Chris's shed. And this time, instead of pulling out a ring, he brings out a green gem, a Chaos Emerald, because he knows that it's going to take him out of here.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So when he's just about ready to leave, he shouts Chaos Control, and then he gets shot in the back by Chris. He's like, oh, hey. And Chris is still wearing the San Francisco shirt, and that opens a portal, and it causes the emerald to fall on the tower. And just so we know that Chris is not all that bad a guy, he pulls Sonic's hand out from the portal so it doesn't get cut off. Also, I should mention that after getting shot and passing out, a bunch of rings fly out of Sonic's person, and Chris is like, okay. Like, just Chris Tucker reacting to a whole bunch of craziness going on here. I think that'd be really funny. Like, okay,
are you trying to make Rush Hour with Sonic in it?
Maybe. That might be where I'm going.
Jesus.
It could be worse.
Rush Hour. And he goes fast.
All right. All right, so again, movie proceeds as normal. We get Robotnik getting in on Chris's home, punches him out. He and Sonic go on the road, and they're just all talking about how, what'd you do to me? What'd you do to me? You shot me in the back. And it's like, well, what's past is past. And eventually they get into, I want to say they pull into Seattle.
Okay.
Because again, I feel like Sonic interacting with a big city would, instead of just a bar, maybe a bar included. That would be a lot of fun. And also it gives me an excuse to play Living in the City from Sonic R over the scene.
Yeah.
There you go. Also, maybe a Frasier reference if you're doing Seattle, maybe? I don't know.
Again, 90s.
Something about tossed salad and scrambled eggs. I don't know. Throw whatever you want to throw in there.
Oh, they go to the bar. They go to the bar, and Sonic orders tossed salad and scrambled eggs. That doesn't mean
The bartender's the guy from Cheers. There you go.
Yes, I love that.
Sold.
Ted Danson's just still working that same bar. Okay. No, that can't be. That bar is in Boston. That doesn't make any sense.
It's a franchise now.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair.
So we get Sonic having fun in the city, having fun in the bar. Like we get the whole talk about bucket lists, and we get the run-in with the bikers, who again deep cut. These are bikers named the Roadhogs after an episode of Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog.
I love
Yes.
it. I'm here for it.
Wait, can we get biker mice from Mars as just a quick reference in that though? Why not?
Sure. We were biker mice. Now we're the Roadhogs,
Love it.
and we actually get.
Are we gonna have a scene where he gets on the bar and actually starts singing Tequila at the same time? Is that too much?
No, I love it. I'm
It can,
I'm here for
it
it.
can be. We'll call it an extended scene.
Okay, that's fair.
So we actually get out of the bar, and we have the bikers chasing Chris and Sonic out, and we get a scene of Sonic thwarting the bikers, and it gives me an excuse to play Escape from the City from Sonic Adventure 2. Because it's a lot more lighthearted, and I think it would fit better here than the city scene later near the climax. So Sonic and Chris are feeling a lot more connected now. I want a scene of like Sonic speaking Japanese, because like that's the thing with the Japanese versions of the game where the actor for Sonic will break into random spouts of English because Japanese things are cool or something. And that sets Chris off because like how does that little blue hedgehog know Japanese?
Yes.
And
The
when we
most
get
interesting
to-
thing about him is that he's bilingual.
So building up to the midpoint, when Sonic is asleep in the hotel room, Chris pulls out Sonic's backpack where he keeps like his rings and stuff. He sees a whole bunch of souvenirs from all over the globe. I want the build up to the midpoint being about how Chris is envious about this hedgehog who has been living here for 10 years like a king while he's lived his whole life just trying to make ends meet.
Okay, I see what you're going for, referencing back to the existential thing.
Yeah. I watched Planes, Trains, and Automobiles for the first time all the way through, and I'm just thinking if I could make Sonic more like this, like a bit more. If I could just add a bit more teeth to it,
That
I'd be
is
more
like
satisfied with it.
top of the movies that I absolutely can't stand. I hate that movie.
Oh.
I hate John Candy. He's so fucking annoying in that film.
You just lost brownie points from me, Aaron.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit what you think about me. I don't like that movie.
I mean, that's accurate to every episode, but sure.
John Candy was a treasure, goddammit.
Come on, Jesse. You hate, like, literally fucking everything. Am I not allowed to hate one goddamn thing?
Not John Candy. Uncle Buck is fantastic.
All right, so this big argument they have, it's what causes like local authorities and the higher ups and Robotnik's people to finally track where they are, and that brings us to the midpoint of the movie where they're out on the highway or freeway or out in the woods, and they're being attacked by drones, which again are a bunch of badniks from the game. And
Critters
Sonic
in
breaks them up,
robotic
breaks them up.
bodies. Thank you.
We'll get to that. I forgot to mention. Another reason for Sonic needing to get the Chaos Emerald back is because without it, like the Chaos Emerald recharges how many rings are in his body, and if he runs low on them, he loses his speed.
Okay.
Like he wasn't born with it.
Oh.
So he could be a
that's
slow
that's-
hog.
That's one thing. That's one thing I didn't. That's another thing I didn't like about the movie. He was just born special. I was like, all right, fine.
Too much backstory. Too much work. I will say the idea of having the animals inside these robotic suits, having being in there like they're being tortured or something like that. They have to serve Robotnik, otherwise he if you want to go really really dark, you have the animals inside the robot suits. And if they don't try to attack Sonic and they don't serve Robotnik, then the machine will basically like skin them. You know, like in the Sausage Party.
Oh no!
Oh no!
when the potatoes getting peeled.
Yeah, that's the big shift in focus in the plot was when Sonic breaks the robots, and when they're driving away, he sees animals inside the shells.
Yeah.
And then he is fucking horrified. And like in one of the shells he sees, like in one of the metal casings he sees, is the turtle again from the beginning of the movie.
I will say that's one positive I forgot to mention. The turtle sequence is actually funny when he starts to smile. That's cute. And then he puts him down, and the turtle's shaking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but after the first interaction with Robotnik, when Chris and Sonic leave, they unfortunately leave the turtle behind, and when Robotnik sees the scar on the turtle shell, he's like, "Oh, hello again." Again, when the military is asking Robotnik, "Why do all your drones look like animals and insects?" He's like, "Well, I could tell you." Looks into the camera, but that would spoil the surprise. It turns out he's talking to Agent Stone.
Are we making him evil Deadpool? He knows he's in
Maybe.
the movie, but Sonic doesn't.
Maybe.
I'm fine with that. Honestly, I'm enjoying that take.
It works if it's Jim Carrey.
Yeah, if Jim Carrey's in the role, it's fine, but anybody else, it wouldn't work.
Yeah, and again, going with the kind of Roosevelt angle when Sonic first breaks up the first few badniks, you end up saying stuff like, "Oh, that was a lucky shot, Hedgehog, but as a great American once said, it takes more than a lucky shot to kill a bull moose." Alright, that just failed.
I get
I
it.
don't get it.
I'm not laughing because it's too funny, but I get it.
Don't.
Moving
It's
on.
it's-
Moving on.
It's in reference to when Teddy Roosevelt was shot. Deep cuts are just
Now I
failing
get
me.
it.
Yeah,
So-
my knowledge of Teddy Roosevelt is very, very, very limited. Move on. Damn it.
All right, moving on. Okay, so there are animals inside, including the turtle from earlier, and Sonic's horrified, so now there's a shift in focus. So Sonic no longer wants to just leave Earth. He wants to stop Robotnik and what he's doing. And with the... there's one final robot that Robotnik unleashes him, and it's a metal... It looks like a metal version of Sonic.
Oh!
It gets better. It gets better.
Don't entice me, Nick.
Yeah. Nick Berger's gonna love it. What I do with this Metal Sonic, because this one can't fly under its own power. It has to move its legs with like air boots along the ground. That's because this Metal Sonic is not entirely metal. If you know what I mean? Yeah. Once they manage to evade it, unfortunately, but it causes Sonic to pass out because he lost a lot of his rings. So we head back to Tika Sumpter, and he gets healed up. He and the other animals get healed up. We just got an image of Chris Tucker holding a bunch of animals. It's like, baby, we need help. And don't worry, it's still a family movie, so most of the animals are fine. And Sonic gets all better, and Sonic reveals his past and where he comes from. And this is where we get the stuff with Sonic's world, where he's running around at the speed of sound over Green Hill Zone as a baby, and he gets more information about how he was the best at collecting rings because the rings made him fast, and he always wanted to be fast, and he didn't want to share with anybody, and that ends up causing problems for him and his guardian, who is not Longclaw the owl, but a character from the Archie comics and the anti-capitalist show Uncle Chuck.
Yes,
I love
Sonic's
Uncle Chuck so much.
He's basically the old Donkey Kong from the Donkey Kong Country games. That might be hot takes, but I think he's basically old Donkey Kong. What, Cranky Kong? Cranky Kong.
Cranky Kong,
basically.
yeah. Donkey Kong the first.
Yes.
And so we get a little insight into Sonic and Uncle Chuck's relationship, where there's it's loving, but he's warning Sonic to take it easy. I know going fast is being fun, but if you hoard all the power, people are not gonna like you, and they're gonna come for you. But even then, Sonic is like, oh, come on, it's my birthday. Speaking of, wear a present. And it's like, all right, fine. So Uncle Chuck brought him his watch from the Prower family.
Hey.
And that tells him how many rings he tells him time, tells him how many rings he has. And Uncle Chuck has a present from himself for Sonic, which is the Green Chaos Emerald. And he talks about how there's legends about how Chaos's power and those who control the Chaos Emeralds can make can have whatever wish they want. No, they can. It turns their thoughts into power to a limited extent. And he talks about how when the echidnas finally came for them and they had to abandon the world, that put a massive strain on Sonic and Uncle Chuck's relationship. And in the intervening 10 years, Uncle Chuck disappeared. And that's why Sonic is a moody teenager in this version, because he lost his only connection to his family in his previous life.
I like that. Okay. I like that. Bye, fucking Craig. Yeah. Jesus Christ. Can I interrupt you for one moment? Craig is the best idea and the worst execution. That fucking bot is goddamn terrible. Back to Sonic.
All right, so yeah, Sonic lost his Uncle Chuck, and he regrets it every day. And now, when he finally figures out where he went, he figures out where he recognizes Robotnik from. He's been made into a roboticized version of himself. So that just strengthens his resolve to get even with Robotnik. And Chris finally chills out. He says that he's sure that if Uncle Chuck saw who Sonic is now, he would be proud of him for wanting to help creatures big and small. Sonic's like, oh, like how Pretzel Lady's happy you help out the people in Green Hills, right? He's like, yeah. Again, we're moving Chris's plot. We're actually giving Chris somewhat of an arc here. So when we get to the point where they're on the tower and Sonic has his emerald and they're just waiting for Eggman shows up with a whole bunch of robots. He's like a big change with how the rings work, since there is no form of chaos on Earth yet anyway. The rings don't disappear, they corrode basically, but like any good battery, even a broken battery still has some charge of it, so Robotnik is able to collect them and get some juice out of them, and that's how he's able to power his robots. Like the robots power, it's a two-part process with the energy source from the rings and using the the brains of the animals in his roboticized badniks that power them, that keep them going.
Okay. No, Harvey, no.
Uh-oh.
I thought I muted myself. I'm sorry.
So we get the big San Francisco chase scene, and that goes to Paris and Egypt and the Great Wall. And eventually, Metal Sonic 1.0, Uncle Chuck, is able to get close enough to... He's able to get in proximity enough with Sonic that he is able to initiate chaos control and take them back to Green Hills, the town in Oregon. This is what happens when I don't have
Seattle.
I can't. Seattle. I can't speak whether I have a script or I don't have a script. So yeah, we have the big scene where we think Sonic's dead, and Robotnik's talking about how he's gonna love experimenting on him, which actually has weight now since we know Robotnik actually experiments on animals and makes them into servants. But at this point, Chris has pleaded his case to the people of Green Hills about how the Blue Devil is real and like how Sonic has helped in little ways around the town, like making like little quality of life changes, and how Chris has been upset with the town, but he realizes that there are good people here, and he's asking them to pay back the kindness that he has shown them, and that's what rallies the people to like help Sonic against Robotnik and Metal Sonic and the other badniks. And this is when Sonic like gets a vision from the Emerald, which has been taken like during the scuffle because Metal Sonic got in proximity with the Emerald. He now has it, and now Eggman now has it, and that powers all of his machinery. And then Sonic gets a little flash of Uncle Chuck, and is like, "How am I seeing you?" It's like, the Emerald turns our thoughts into power, and you must really want to talk to me after all this time." And it's about, and basically, like, don't blame yourself. You're trying to do better now. Kick this guy's ass, basically. And that's what leads to Sonic tapping into the power of the one Chaos Emerald, so he's glowing green now, and again, we get the green in his eyes, and he smashes the robots, saves the animals, and sends Eggman to the Mushroom Planet. And because I don't want to, again, I kind of want to kill Uncle Chuck off here, because I want to add some more. I want to get to more. I'm trying to make this a family movie, not a kid movie.
Yeah, I see what you're going for. We've pointed that out before on the show, if I'm not mistaken.
So we see Chris and Maddie and Sonic bury Uncle Chuck, and Sonic talks about how, well, this has been one big ride, but there's stuff back in my world that I gotta settle, and I gotta do the right thing. And it looks like he's about to leave, and it's just like, oh, what the heck? Why don't we have a big old vacation, just the three of us, eh? And we get the end credit scene of them like traveling around the world and finally fulfilling like Chris's want to actually have some. To actually get what he feels is owed to him, like I want to see my life's work pay off in some way, basically.
Okay.
And we still get the credit scene with Tails. We still get the credit scene with Eggman. But like after we pan out from Eggman, we do cut to like two figures, one in shadow, one wearing a kind of spy suit. The guy in shadow is like, this planet this planet does have breathable air. So person in the suit takes off a mask, It's an orange echidna asking, "Well, do you think Eggman can work to what we're going for?" And then the sun comes out, shines on the man in Shadow's face. It's Knuckles. He's holding a light blue Chaos Emerald, and he's like, "I don't know, but we're gonna find out." All right, and then near the end, post-credits scene, we're back to Dr. Stone, who is happy to no longer be working under Robotnik. And he runs into Brendan Fraser's character now, who has been wearing shades in every scene he's in. He's like, "Dr. Stone, I don't think you understand how deep this goes. Like, the whole thing about animals from different dimensions, rings, Chaos Emeralds, even the Robotnik family, this has all happened before." And he takes him to a secret room, and he pulls up files on a computer. He takes off his glasses, and reveals that he has one blue eye, one red eye, and he brings up a file called Project Shadow.
Wow!
I set up the classic Sonic stuff with Sonic and the modern Sonic stuff with Shadow.
I can't believe you brought him in from Shadow the Hedgehog. As Brendan Fraser. Wow.
I'm glad it's Brendan Fraser now and not someone awful. And also right after that, we cut to this sort of dream world. I'm not done. We got to this somewhat dream world where we see visions of Sonic, Chris, and Maddie, and then Tails looking for Sonic, and then Knuckles, Eggman, and the second echidna Shade, and then Brendan Fraser, who is named Commander Tower, Dr. Stone, and the Files, and we cut to a purple jester-like androgynous character, neither male or female, going, this is interesting. And then end credits.
Holy shit.
So not only did I bring in Shadow, I brought in
Holy
Knights.
shit.
Mm-hmm. So Nick Wolf's a super fan, is what we've established.
Yeah.
And that was pitch 1. But I can take a break if need be.
Let's switch over to Nick Berger for your pitch.
Okay.
Hopefully you found it.
Mm-hmm.
I did find it. So, mine's like a page 1 rewrite animated movie.
Good.
And I want it to take place entirely on Sonic's world. And it's kind of an alien invasion movie.
Ooh.
Because Eggman is the alien. So Eggman basically is Walt Disney, right? In this pic. And he comes to Sonic's world because he's like, oh, this is an underdeveloped world, quote unquote, with just a bunch of dumb animals. I could make my super future theme park here.
Ah.
So the setup of the movie is, what if the animals that Walt Disney killed to make Disneyland fought back? So, and I love theme parks, so it's rough.
This has a feeling of if it were like meta, it would be making fun of Disney buying everything.
Yeah, a little bit.
I like that.
But basically, it starts. Eggman destroys where Sonic, Tails, and Amy live, right? And they're like, okay, it's basically. I want it to be really simple as like structurally. So it's basically a point A to point B movie, like road trip kind of thing, right?
Okay.
So Sonic, Tails, and Amy have to go to Eggman's like central tower and destroy it and get the Chaos Emeralds before he wants it. Very simple. But Eggman is like, okay, if I just let them do that, they could probably do it. So I'm gonna go to this place called Angel Island, and there's this guy called Knuckles who guards the Master Emerald, and he's a little dumb because he's never talked to anyone ever. So if I tell him, hey, these guys are trying to steal the Master Emerald, well, Knuckles will fight them for him. So the movie is kind of, I want it to be like kind of episodic. I want it to structurally feel like a game, and it's more about these characters going through the world and seeing it slowly taken over by technology. So like as the movie goes on, the settings are more, like they go from more natural to more industrial. And so it's called Sonic, of course, but the POV character is Tails, because I think Tails has a lot more potential for character development than Sonic.
Yes,
Because-
I love it. I love it
So
already.
Tails, it's kind of the classic Tails arc of like, I want to be like Sonic because he's so cool and awesome, and I'm just a little boy who likes gadgets and stuff. So he has to like learn that like, he doesn't have to be like Sonic to be a hero. He can be a nerd who builds things, and that could save the day. And that's what saves the day when they have to fight like the big robot at the end or whatever. Yeah, it's like a lot of my ideas are more like, I guess, the visual design and stuff. Then that's because I feel like, especially to start off, a simple plot is where I want to go for. So I want it to be more like Tails' character development, action, and like vibes, basically. Like I want there to be a lot of scenes with like in between the action that are just kind of like the characters going through the environment and seeing how the technology is taking over their home, and like how it's like this kind of mix of like how like to us it might look kind of cool and beautiful in a way, but to them it's horrifying because like that tree is where I used to hang out, and now it's a big tower with tubes coming out of it. I don't even know what it does.
I love that. It's like being horrified by Apple. It's beautiful. I love this.
So like director-wise, I was thinking like, have any of you seen either Gurren Lagann, the anime, or Promare?
I have seen Gurren Lagann.
I've seen Gurren Lagann. I've seen it all the way through.
I love it all the way up till the time skip, and then we won't talk about it.
So I
love the time skip, and I bought Promare on DVD a while ago. I mean to watch it.
Well, you're a better nerd than me, okay?
The time skip is my favorite part of Gurren Lagann. But anyway, the main director of that, Hiroyuki Imaishi, I want him to direct it because I think the way he does action is so perfect for Sonic. How like exaggerated and quick, fast paced it is. I think it's perfect, and I think like even like Simone's arc from Gurren Lagann is just basically Tails and Sonic. Really.
You're not wrong. You are not wrong.
So
I forgot to mention for both Pitch 1 and Pitch 2, I'm not having Jeff Fowler direct. I want someone who's actually directed an animated movie at least, so I'm bringing in Peter Ramsey from Spider-Verse to direct.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I have conversed with him on Twitter, and he is a wonderful human being.
Ah, excellent.
Speaking of Spider-Verse, actually, I want Sonic's voice actor to be Miles' voice actor.
I love that. Yeah, I'm on board.
Because I want...
should make more?
I want him to... Because I think Shamik... Like, I haven't heard him in other stuff, but I think Shamik can capture that kind of, like, chill kind of confidence that I want Sonic to have, especially if he's going to be, like, the coming to Tails or Shimon. I don't know who I want to voice Tails, but I want it to actually be, like, a kid. Not just, like... Either just a kid or, like, his original voice actor if it works, too.
You know who I think would be good? Do you guys watch the show Adventures of Gumball?
Yeah.
Yes!
Nope.
Literally any of the children actors from that show
you're not wrong.
I think would be a good fit. They're all really good voice actors. Any of the Darwin voice actors in particular I think would be perfect.
Yeah, you're right. That's perfect. I don't have a voice actor for Knuckles either. That's kind of tough. Eggman, his game voice actor is perfect.
Yeah.
He is not given enough to work with, so I want him to work there. I want to give him the work in there, and I want like his robots to also be voiced by him, but with like a robot filter. And bring in Orbot from the games too, who's like pretty self-explanatory. He's just an orb who's a robot, and I want him to be voiced by Billy Eichner.
Love it.
What else do I have? Oh yeah, my sequel would also be about Shadow. I think that's everyone.
Nice.
I think that's like the one to do. Like everyone who wants to make a sequel has to do Shadow. And my third one, because I always think like trilogies. I grew up with Lord of the Rings and Spider-Man, so trilogies still in my brain.
Sure.
The third one would be Sonic 06. And it would be about Silver and Blaze going back in time to kill Sonic, being tricked by a future Eggman or something.
Eggman Nega.
God.
Yeah.
Actually, no. I have read here that it'd be Metal Sonic. Pretending to be like... Pretending to be like a Sonic and just whatever. I don't have it plotted out. But that's pretty much my pick. Oh, and Big the Cat would be there in a cameo.
In a cameo.
Because Big the Cat is very important.
He really is. And you know what? I'm happy for no erasure of Biggs the Cat.
Yeah.
Let's do a little Patreon content real quick. Nick Wolf, you have a joke pitch.
Oh, yeah, my joke. All right, I gave the first pitch. I got the other pitch in my pocket, and the joke pitch is basically just take the Super Mario Bros. Movie.
Nope. Stop. Nope.
Take out all the Mario stuff.
I'm in.
And you put in Sonic stuff.
You're fired.
It kind of works better for Sonic, though.
It
works a
does.
lot better for Sonic.
Have you thought about what you're pitching, though? Have you really thought about it? Because what you're pitching is an actual hedgehog from Britain goes through a portal out of fungus into green grass level. What? All right, you know what? I've fired the Knicks. I'm sorry for bringing them on for this episode. They got too silly. I will fire the editors who edited this as well. I'm just quoting Monty Python at this point, but I hate it.
Yeah.
Shit, like it's the Mario movie isn't great.
So then is Knuckles the Echidna just an actual echidna?
So we'll just have Ron Jeremy voice Sonic.
Perfect.
Well, you can't. He's in jail now.
They can put
bring in a
microphones in
microphone.
jail.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not enough. That's not enough.
They got an interview from fucking Tiger King for that documentary.
Yeah.
I want it to be like that horrible quality too for the movie.
Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's got to sound like it's over a landline phone for sure. Jesse, do you have?
Is it gonna be like that scene in what was it, Ted 2, where the opening scene where Ted and his wife are in that shitty apartment building and they're like fighting and it looks like one of those shitty Jerry Springer bits.
Yes.
They're like screaming. Yeah, it's gonna be like that, and they're screaming out the windows. Like, yeah, we should make her our enemy now.
100%.
Jesus. Okay.
Do you have a 90-second pitch, Jesse, for Sonic the Hedgehog?
Make it an animated movie and just make it fun and funny. That's it. It's a kids movie. Like you can't really. You can't really do that much in terms of like changing lore because the lore is pretty straightforward. You know, it's not like overly complicated.
Oh, you'd be
Really?
surprised.
Is it though?
You'd be surprised.
Is it really?
Oh God. I take it back then. But you know what? Make it simplify the lore so that way it's digestible for a young audience. How about that?
Exactly.
Do you remember that
Yeah.
Shadow the Hedgehog shooter game that we got?
Ugh.
Yeah, that was
Let's
awful.
make that a movie. That's my pitch.
Oh yeah.
Directed by Zack
Hell
Snyder.
yeah.
Oh god.
It's sad that I would watch that.
I would show everyone I know that movie multiple
just
times.
to know,
God.
just to know that abortion to cinema, whatever it would be, I would watch it.
I'd be like,
We need
Shadow-
a
Shadow running around while Hallelujah plays in the
I'd be like,
background.
look at my favorite movie.
We need an animated kids version. We need an animated kids movie version of Venom.
God, no.
No, we don't.
Jesus
Jesse,
Christ.
do your Steve Carell
Didn't we
impression.
fire you? Why are they still talking?
God! No, God, please, no!
Aaron, what's your 90-second pitch for Sonic the Hedgehog?
Animated, I want to see Sonic and Tails meeting. I'm thinking something like The Fox and the Hound. That's my pitch.
Oh.
I love that.
I know,
Yeah,
how
I
fucking
love
cute
that.
would that be? They'd be babies,
It's too
and they'd meet up
good.
and they'd grow up together. It would be
It's
so
too
good for a
good.
kids movie.
Hopefully with
Just
a
don't-
happier ending.
Yeah, just don't have it end like Watership Down.
No, at the end of the Fox and the Hound, they're friends still, and they still live.
Did you know that is that man's life philosophy? Is he wants to fuck up kids?
Oh, the writer of
Yeah,
Watership Down.
his
Oh
whole
my
thing
God.
is kids
Yeah,
should be
yeah.
introduced to terror so they understand it when they're an adult.
Yeah, yeah. Why do you think so many kids movies back in the 70s and 80s were like so dark? And
Because they
fucked up?
gave Steven Spielberg money, is why.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's that supercut that I showed you, like the trauma cut that I shared around.
Oh God,
Yeah.
it all hurts.
I'll post that in the chat.
Please do. I love these pitches. These are one. I mean, Nick, you went maybe too far. I think Sonic. You have to deal with the Sonic fan fallout. I'm not. I'm just gonna redirect them all to you.
I got one more pitch in me, and I'm gonna try and
Is it
rattle
less
through
than
it.
5 minutes?
Yes, I can make this less
Perfect.
than 5 minutes. I will actually read what I wrote in the structure box.
Go for it. I'm here for it. It may be Patreon only.
Okay, so-
Depending on when you're hearing this, you can tell me if what I decided, but go for it.
Okay. So this can be a sequel if you wanted to, but I can also see this as a pitch one rewrite. So basically, backstory status quo is Sonic and Tails are just palling around. They're living up in the Green Hill Zone. They live off the fat of the land. The point of change is when a merchant / inventor named Julian Kintobor comes to Green Hills. He's peddling a bunch of devices that offer quality of life improvements to the Hill Zone, like basic tools like scooters and make it easier to move around, prosthetics, and a lot of the animal people want these improvements by any means necessary. Like Sonic's worried about what the new inventions will mean for the ecosystem, how that'll affect these smaller animals that can't really defend themselves. He's worried about like overlanders coming to the zone and how that might change things. So he and Tails head outside of the Green Hill Zone area to find basically Han Solo's source of people to see if he's on the up and up. Act 2 is when they're looking around and they think about going into the cave of this character known as the Echidna, who's been banned from Green Hill Zone, but eventually they decide against it and entering the Casino Night Zone, I guess, they find Rouge the Bat, who Sonic seems to convince to help in their aid to sabotage Julian Kintobor, and they may have data on the side, I don't know. Build up in the midpoint is when Tails and Rouge are running up for Constance. Sonic has been roped in by the mayor's aide of the town, Amy Rose, and he has to help her and Mayor Vanilla and her daughter Cream in preparing for the Great Child Migration, a recent
Is Cream
event
a good name?
that has
Maybe no.
No, change that, please.
Or we can
Sometimes
change- all right.
Sonic's a little
Well, it's in-
too horny, is what I'm saying.
All right, well, we can make Vanilla the daughter,
Perfect.
I guess.
That's funny. I get the pun.
Ha! Thank you, Jesse, for enticing me into
so-
that joke.
All right, so the Great Child Migration, it's a recent event, but it makes a lot of people happy. It only happens a few amount of years, and Sonic is reflecting, Sonic and Amy used to date. They used to be a sort of freedom fighting thing, but Amy decided to get out of that life. And Sonic's like, oh, come on, Rosie, what happened to the good times? I told you not to call me that anymore, Sonic. So after that happens, Sonic gets what he thinks is a signal that shady stuff's going down with Kintobor, but it turns out that the robots he's smashing are just perfectly consenting citizens who want the prosthetics to help make their lives easier. And Rouge was not helping Sonic at all. She was being paid by Kintobor to buff up his security, and Tails apparently has also become an apprentice to Kintobor because Sonic has not been satisfied. He's not been nurturing Tails's mechanical inclination needs. Like, he doesn't want to live off the fat of the land anymore. He wants to actually use his skills and be creative. And like a parting gift, Tails So it's like, hey, here's something to remember me by. And it's like a water purifier. And when Sonic uses it, he realizes, hey, this doesn't make any emissions. So he's getting cleaner water and he's getting ice. And he realizes that Tails is still on his side. He's got to do what he can to help people. And he almost gets killed by Badniks. But Sonic is rescued by the Echidna, who introduces himself as Knuckles. He talks about how Kintobor is actually a mean old man named Robotnik who destroyed his home of Angel Island. And everybody, all the Echidnas didn't want to listen to Knuckles because he was a big jerk, like Sonic, like people who think Sonic is. And Sonic's like, hey, stop feeling sorry for yourself. You want to change, you got to work for that change. So Sonic and Knuckles team up, and they're able to successfully recruit Rouge this time because Knuckles talks up about how he has this Master Emerald that's more cut than any diamond in the world, and that just sells.
But
Rouge
was it
on
more cut than Jesse's Bloodshot? The limit does not exist.
No, it doesn't.
So they're all headed towards Eggman, and they meet up with Amy, who has abandoned her mayoral assistant clothes. And Sonic's like, "Oh, looks like Rosie the Rascal's out of retirement after all." And they find that Tails has sent like a little drone of his own that's shaped like a Tails plushie. He has something into the Tails doll. And he points in the direction of a plane called the Tornado, and they're able to fly up to Robotnik's base of operations, the Death Egg, and they all fight together, and they're able to beat Robotnik down. And Sonic has cleared his reputation, and Green Hill shows more appreciation for Sonic and Tails and what they have to offer the town. And they're taking more steps to be more techno-Gaianistic, nature and technology coexisting in harmony. They get a sequel spinoff where Rouge sticks with Knuckles to look for that Master Emerald, because it turns out, no, I shattered that thing into millions and millions of shards when Eggman showed up. You're going to have to help me look for all the shards. And done.
Wow. That was amazing Patreon content. If you didn't hear it, you'll never know what happened. But if you'd like to, for $1, patreon.com/MonTressor I would love for Nick Berger and then Nick Wolf to tell the internet where they can be found if they would like to be found. If not, just go into witness protection and disappear.
You can find me at Double Burger on Twitter. It's BERGER. That's where I post my art and stuff.
And art that you've done for us, by the way. Wonderful avies, however you say that word. They're beautiful, and I love them, and I still use mine currently on Discord. Nick Wolf, how about you? Where can people find you?
You can find me on Discord at Nick Wolf, capital NIC, capital WOOLFE. My number is pound. I'm just going to say hashtag.
Did you say pound?
0760.
Did you say pound sign?
I don't know which makes me more out of touch, pound or hashtag.
I mean, at least hashtag actually works. Pound signed what, a tag on Twitter?
So yeah, hashtag 0760, hashtag 0760 on Discord, so you can hit me up there, and you can hit me up at, what was it? At u/MYCKOUNT on Reddit. I stopped posting there, but I'm probably going to come back again, because I have some pitches there for future episodes. Spider-Man 3. And that's a lot of fun.
I hate you for making me finish that movie.
Me and future Jesse.
Honestly, that's my big takeaway is Nick Wolf is going to make me finish Spider-Man 3.
Yes.
Hate it.
I didn't hate it. I didn't despise it. It's not good.
I walked out of the theater when he goth danced. That's when I left. So I don't know how the movie ends. Aaron, how about...
Oh, you should see that scene synced up to Eminem's Venom song.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. JD posted that.
No.
Yeah.
Aaron, how about you? Where can people find you?
You can find me in the club, bottle full of bub. Look, mommy, I got the X if you into taking drugs. I'm into having sex, I ain't into making love. So come give me a hug if you're into getting rubbed.
No.
No.
You can find me on Twitter at Aaron Moriarty YT. I have a link tree as well. That is Aaron Moriarty. You can also listen to us on the Palate Cleanser podcast, where we discuss movies that are good.
Like Sonic the Hedgehog.
It was pretty good. It was decent. I'd
Sonic
watch it again.
OVA.
Yes!
Oh,
Jesus.
I just remembered I had somewhere else to be. See y'all later.
And Jesse, round us out here with your plugs.
You can find me on Twitter at HardcoreBshot. We have 2 other shows that are available for Montrose Media. We have Split the Difference, where we take an original film and compare it to its remake. We just did 47 Ronin.
God, did we?
Yeah, that was fun. And then we also have another one that's coming out pretty soon for Suspiria. And like we said earlier on, we've had a lot of coincidences this year, and that episodes that we do, usually somebody involved with those films dies, like right away. The co-writer of Suspiria died on Thanksgiving, and we did Suspiria. I think we're cursed. We are the hammer that falls.
Well, this didn't happen until Devin left the show, so I blame Devin.
Devin's responsible. Just blame Devin. He's not here. The other show we have is that just wrapped up its season, That Weird Ass Game, where we talk about weird and unusual games. We talk about Spec Ops: The Line. That should be out pretty soon.
It's a good game. Very good game.
Good
Wonderful. Game. And if you'd like to be on the show, at Film Rescue Show on Twitter or filmrescueshow@gmail.com, we bring literally anyone onto the show. We've got some cool guests coming up to round out the season.
Not Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro is officially
Okay,
uninvited.
but here's the thing. What if we let him on the show and then just made short jokes the whole time?
Yeah.
Dry
dry
pussy
pussy
jokes
jokes.
the whole time.
I really like short men, though.
I would bring...
Not Ben Shapiro, but in general, short men, A+.
I would bring him on the
#1.
show to secretly make fun of him in the group chat and then release the group chat into the Twitterverse afterwards.
Never release the audio.
Nobody cares what this guy had to say, but here's what we said about him during the podcast.
God.
You put
What
that on
movie
the
do we bring
YouTube
Ben Shapiro
story
on
page.
for, though?
We
Magic
bring him back
Mike.
to do the Snyder Cut because apparently he loves
Of course he
BBS.
does.
That makes
No, I was
sense.
going to say Magic Mike. I think that would be a perfect film.
Oh, there you
He
go.
would
yeah.
never.
Yeah.
His pussy
no.
would get too wet. I think that's where we end the show.
All right, bye all.
Thanks
Bye.
for listening to Film Rescue Show. I've been your Pitchmaster General, and good night.